Well, it just looks like J.P. Morgan's really going to be on the ropes here pretty soon. And, you heard it before. They're under investigation. Now, let's just hope Max Kaiser isn't doing an investigation because, I don't know, that guy's too much of a clown, right? But anyway, it's actually coming from mainstream news sources like the New York Times and Bloomberg and all that type of stuff. Actually, and also Blythe Masters. She's on the limelight. The whole bunch of them. What's that going to mean to the price of silver? Well, I guess if it's manipulated, like I believe it is, so and everybody believes it is, maybe the manipulation's going to be laid off a little bit because, well, first off, even about this manipulation, I know it's not as much of a conspiracy as a lot of people in the silver crowd say it is, but there is manipulation and it always goes on in the markets. But some of these things are basically true because of the accusations that are coming out. Because it looks like, and this is coming out from the New York Times actually, looks like regulators have warned that the bank is now in their sights. And it says back in May, the New York Times, it was the New York Times, reported that the government documents allege that J.P. Morgan's and Blythe Masters had knowledge and approval of schemes carried out by J.P. Morgan by a group of energy traders in Eustis, and that she had falsely denied under oath her awareness of the problems. So there's a lot more things coming out. They're getting hit from a lot of different fronts. It's like, there's like body shots, there's head shots, there's a couple kicks to the knees, and that type of stuff. They're not good. They might be going down. The SEC that would push JPM not only to pay a fine, but also admit wrongdoing. That's actually, when you think about that, well, I admit I did wrongdoing and I paid a fine. But that affects your customer base, your image, and how you are in the financial community with the average person. Like, in other words, like customers of J.P. Morgan and these big banks or whatever it is, they're going to avoid them. If they admit wrongdoing, they say, "Oh, I remember that." It sticks with them. That mud sticks on them for a long time. So when they admit wrongdoing, that hurts them financially in other ways in the future. It's not like the standard stuff. So they want to admit, they want him, the SEC, that it would push J.P. Morgan to not only pay a fine but also admit wrongdoing for the 2012 $6 billion trading loss in its chief investment offices. Banks usually don't admit wrongdoing. You got to remember that tarnishing their reputation, that's going to take a more of a major hit than a fine. You think it's not going to do something? That's killing their business. It's like if you have a restaurant and somebody says, yeah, somebody got sick, and the restaurant got sued or something, and you paid them some money to shut them up, but if you admit it, yeah, I gave them crappy food. Who the hell's going to go to the restaurant anymore? Maybe that's a good example. How's that for an example? So that could affect their business. People say, I'm staying away from those guys, right? So, and actually, it doesn't end there. In the fall of Jon Corzine and another global MF global executive, they're going to court to answer for over $1 billion of customer funds lost when a commodities brokerage went down in flames in 2011. So there's a lot of related different things going on. And also, JPM was added to the lawsuit against Goldman Sachs because, see, Goldman's also in the aluminum business and the aluminum storage business. This was another article I went into about before. That it was Boeing and Coca-Cola, two big aluminum users. I know this is related to silver, but we always allege that they're manipulating the silver market, right? Which they are. I don't know why we say allege, but anyway, that they were actually, it was Goldman Sachs who was in the aluminum business, in the aluminum storage business. There were supposedly schemes to up the price of aluminum by them storing it in different places and trucking it from one warehouse to another that are both owned by Goldman Sachs. there's been accusations coming from Boeing and Coca-Cola, who use a lot of aluminum, because it's actually been costing the end consumer of aluminum products billions of dollars because of all these extra added storage costs. And it was actually the CME in London that they're supposed to be the ones that watch over this. They actually get a percentage of the fee of the aluminum storage cost, so they actually have no incentive to investigate this. That was interesting. But it looks like JPM was added to the lawsuit against Goldman, and which the lawsuit was actually against Goldman and Sachs, but JPM was added to that lawsuit that it purposely delayed deliveries of aluminum from Henry Bath warehouses to suck more money out of its customers. The suit was filed in Jacksonville, Florida by direct purchaser Master Screens Inc. and a private individual. Master Screens Inc. actually, you'll probably see their name if you're in the construction industry. You'll see their name come up as one of the, contractors in, these large projects all over the place. So, whether it's residential or commercial. So, it's like if you piss off enough people, they start fighting back. So, it looks like a lot of things are coming to fruition with JP Morgan. So, a lot of people are saying, keep on to the paper, keep on to the fiat. The fiat's the safety. I don't really think so, to tell you the truth. And, the other thing I always said about silver, it's off the radar. That's really what it is. If JP Morgan wants to hire me to fix their problems, I'm for a hire, at a certain price. But they're going to have to pay me directly in silver bullion and lots of it. I want stuff in buckets, you know what I'm saying? I don't want any fiat paper, no direct deposit, and I want the money delivered up front. So, I could probably fix their problems because there's always a way to, argue a situation. And I'm quite more adept at that, and probably more so than Jamie Dimon himself. Oh, what a braggart I am. But anyway, if they're going to pay me, I don't want any wampum paper, man. I don't want any direct deposit. I want to see the silver. We're playing hardcore here all the way, so if they're going to pay me, I want to see silver. Anyway, but it looks like JP Morgan for real. People say the Giant's going down, the JP Morgan's going down. But, start adding all this other things up about the aluminum, storage strategies with Goldman Sachs, it looks like Blythe Masters' name is coming up about knowledge and approval of schemes carried out by a group of energy traders in Houston. What would happen if the vaults run dry on physical gold? What would happen then? Say there was a real default. The price could skyrocket. I know these guys on the silver and gold bugs are exaggerators and they don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like there is a lot of heat. And it's coming from the public too. The public, it's like a lot of, in other words, when these guys make a lot of money, real quick for not doing anything, it's coming out of somebody's pocket. Somebody's getting pissed off, and that's really what's behind the impetus to all these government regulations. So don't think the big guys can't be brought down. They can be. So, if I was actually had to work for JP Morgan, I tell you the truth, I'd rather be paid in silver because I noticed that the ship would be going down. I'd rather have my buckets of silver. I'd be heading out to the mountain someplace. If JP Morgan goes down in flames, I got my mountain retreat already set. And I got all my silver and my vantage point and all that type of stuff. And I bet you there's a lot of JP Morgan executives, Goldman Sachs executives, and Blythe Masters herself were probably thinking the same thing. So if the ship is really going down, you might see the rats scurrying for safety, and then who the hell knows what's going to happen. And then in that case, what's going to happen to the prices, physical gold and physical silver? Notice I say not gold and silver, physical gold and physical silver. It will skyrocket, right? So just hang on in there, folks, because it looks like JP Morgan is getting, a lot of knockdown punches from a lot of different areas for real. And this is coming not from, the silver bloggers and the silver, whatever, the pump and dumpers. It's coming from the New York Times and Bloomberg. They're acknowledging it. It's not just all about silver. It's about commodities, a lot of different things. Aluminum, what they're doing in trading, energy trading. What they did, what Corzine did with the money. Corzine did with the money. It's like there's a lot of different areas. These investigations aren't dying down. It's like a slow process. When you see things hit the headlines, it doesn't happen right away. And the BS is only going to catch up with them so far, So like I said, if they want to hire me, they're going to have to pay me in physical silver, and I want the money up front. So anyway, over and out.